Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning. It's a wonderful day outside. It'll be better where it is tomorrow with the rain coming in and the cold weather again, but it's been great. Hey, just a couple of quick comments about the previous show. And I can't stress enough, folks, the side of the street is not where to argue with. You know, it's coming up on the holiday season. There's more troopers, more police out, all of them trying to keep a curb so bad things don't happen. If you disagree with something, don't go out and argue there. Just take it to the court and that's the place to do the arguments. Nothing ever works out good when you argue on the side of the street. Trust me, that's not the place for it. So just a little bit of advice, a little hint. If you're going to argue, do it away from the side of the street because number one, you're on video for sure. Number two, the officers are not going to be real polite when you're trying to argue what he's trying to do. So take it to court, let a jury, let a judge hear what you have to say, and let them look at the videos. So with that in mind, you know, it's only about 6 more days to Turkey Day. Thanksgiving's coming up. And then that means there's only 33 more days of shopping. Christmas will be here before we know it. It seemed to come really quickly this year, especially with it being on the 22nd. And, you know, the holidays are a special time for everyone. So what I thought I'd do today is I'd go over a little bit about some holiday safety tips, because if you've been on any of the highways or byways the last couple of days, especially yesterday afternoon, the traffic was snarled. The traffic is getting heavy. I had to go to Killeen yesterday, and I-35, because of a crash, was backed up over 17 miles from Temple almost all the way down past Gerald. So what I hope to do is give you some ideas that should keep you safe, make it safe for you, and make it safe for your family. And that's the important thing. You know, holidays are super time. And I'll leave, before I get into it, I'll tell you why I'm really, I guess, high on talking about holiday safety tips. In 1981, that's been a long time ago, folks. Many of you listen to this show probably wasn't even born. But in 1981, I had to deliver a death message to a mother and dad that their 17-year-old daughter wasn't coming home. And the bad part about that was on the 23rd day of December, 2 days before Christmas, 1 day before Christmas Eve. That's something that will stick in my mind for the rest of my life. The reaction, the actions, walking up to a house that was totally decorated from head to toe, and then telling them that their daughter's not coming home for Christmas. So you got to understand, folks, it's kind of a personal thing for me. I've seen too many times. I've seen too many people in bars on Christmas Eve when they should be home with their families. So with that in mind, bear a little bit about what I have to say. Everybody's got parties to go to, decorations and shopping on their mind, but all that's more reason to be aware and keep alert of your potential dangers, folks. I want to give you a few tips and some precautions to look at. You know, here on the show, we'd like to make sure that we have our listeners come back. So it's important we hope that you listen to those. We want you to have a holiday season that's safe and secure. First off, and I know I'm not a fireman, I do have a son that's a longtime fireman, but one of the things that I want to talk about is something that the National Fire Protection Association recommends, that if you're going to give a live Christmas tree, get it fresh. An old tree with dry needles is nothing but a fire hazard. And if it's an artificial tree, make sure it's fire retardant, folks. Set the tree up in a sturdy tree stand and keep it clear from the fireplace radiator. I have a friend who, and I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm not going to mention his name, but they have a huge Christmas tree, have big tall ceilings, and it's about 2 foot away from the big blaring fireplace. So make sure that you put it in the right place for right reasons, because we'd hate to go up. Check your string of lights also. Check your string of lights. I have this, I guess, a pet peeve. My pet peeve is when these little twinkle lights don't twinkle, or you got one out and the whole string goes out. I've been known to throw and to get rid of an entire collection of Christmas lights simply from the reason that they won't work. Check your string of lights before you use them. All holiday lights should be inspected, even if they're new, for frayed wires, bare spots, gaps in the insulation, broken or cracked sockets. You know, I can't, how many of you have the outside decorations and you have all these lights connected and you've got end on end plugs laying on the ground and all of a sudden it starts raining, just think about the electricity that's going through that. Know what you're doing, know how to put your lights up, and do it safely. Turn your lights off whenever you leave the house unattended. I know we like to leave them on so everybody can see them, but if you're not going to be there, it's always safer to turn them off. You know, there's a lot of great new gadgets out there to use when hooking up electrolytes. There's things that protect the connections, that keep them waterproof. There's things out there, ornaments that are UL rated, that keep a lot of people safe and secure. Also, keep an eye for the small things around your house that your kids can get into, or your grandkids. I'm sure that many of you get tired of me bringing this up, but make sure and be responsible for your get-togethers. I had a gentleman here one time go all over me in my office because I talked too much about alcohol-related issues. Well, if you've ever lost somebody because of alcohol, or if you've ever seen somebody who's been torn apart because of alcohol, you know a little bit about why I'm pretty strong about that. When you've got people over and you're out and about visiting others, make sure the children are always supervised. If the place you're visiting isn't child-proof, be aware of the potential danger spots and watch the children. Where there's a party, there's always going to be food and drink, and you can never, ever be too careful when it comes to your safety. Always have a designated driver when attending an event or a party that involves alcohol. Always. If you're serving alcoholic beverages and you don't call Matt to be your bartender, you do it yourself, make sure you're the kind of host that can cut people off when you see it getting out of hand. I know it's very, very hard to do, especially if guests are close friends, but they expect you, they depend upon you. They may be upset with you at first, but once they think about what you're trying to do to protect their safety, if they're a true friend, they'll appreciate your efforts, folks. They won't get mad at you. They'll appreciate what you're trying to do for you and your family. The old adage is that you should have plenty of coffee available. Well, let me just say one thing about that. Giving coffee to someone who is intoxicated only makes a wide awake drunk. Only thing that's going to take the alcohol out of your system is time. Now remember, for every one drink you have, it takes approximately 1 hour for that alcohol to leave your system. So if you down 4 or 5 drinks in just an hour, you're going to need to sober up 4 or 5 hours before you think about getting behind the wheel of a car. You know, the only way to sober a person up again is to allow time to do that. In most estimates, once again, it takes about 0.02 to leave your body, which is about an hour. The best thing to do is offer a place for you guests to sleep. And remember, even sleepy drivers can present a dangerous situation on the road. With the advent now of people trying to text and drive, and we know it's illegal to do it when you're driving, but most people have not abided by that law, I can tell you right now. Just look at the ones you see sitting next to you driving down the interstate. They've got their head in their phone. It creates a problem for you that many times is irreversible. To minimize the danger of falling asleep at the wheel or anything like that, make sure that you're well rested if you're going to go to parties. If you need somebody to come get you, you know, we have Uber, we have Lyft, all these other organizations now that'll come get you, take you home. And I'm going to speak specifically to the young people now. And I'm not naive enough to know that you're not going to drink. If you're a youngster and you're going to drink, do me a favor. Call your parents to come pick you up. Have a pact with your parents that they're not going to, you'll talk about it later, but they would a whole lot rather you come and call them than have to be notified that you're not coming home tonight. You know, now the next thing I want to talk about is probably going to be some kind of arrow shot at me from a lot of the female gender. But, you know, Black Friday is well upon us. There have been horror stories over the past few years about Black Friday. And, you know, it gets earlier and earlier. Now this is going to have Black Thursday evening, Black Friday, Black Saturday, Black whatever it may be. No matter where you go shopping or what you do, watch out for the danger signs in your area. Try to shop in pairs. There is safeties in numbers, folks. Avoid parking the car in a dark, isolated area. Be suspicious of any strangers that come up to you for any reasons. Here lately, especially in the Temple Mall area, there have been a number of panhandlers, and that's the only way I know how to use it. Panhandlers that are walking up to people and asking for money. I had two that happened to me this past weekend. Two different people. Unfortunately, they were man and wife. But they'll come up to you. They'll ask you for money, talk about how they're homeless. Offer them a job to see what happens. They may be trying to distract you in order to take your purse, packages, or your belongings. But most of them are just there to bum money off of you. Whatever you decide to do, that's your choice. I can't tell you that. But be careful when you're around those. If you're going to make purchases and you're going to go shopping, take as many as you can, packages as you can periodically out to your car. Cover them up with something instead of trying to carry them all at once. And make sure that you do things that are going to keep you, your wallet, your credit card safe. If you go to ATM, watch where you're at ATM. Make sure that you don't have someone spying over you trying to steal your PIN numbers. And I've talked about a lot of things here, and I try to keep going, but identity theft and things of that nature run rampant during this time of year. Make this a joyous time by being in control at all times. Two more things I want to talk about. Number one, domestics increase during the holidays specifically because of the stress involved. Don't ruin your holidays or your children's holidays by getting out of control. If you see you're getting out of control, male or female, take a walk, go outside, take a rest. But number one, don't try to put that away with alcohol. Have nothing against drinking. A good drink during the holiday seasons is part of the holidays, but be under control. And last but not least, folks, many of you have fireplaces in your home. You have wood stoves in your home. I have a wood burning stove in my house. Great, especially this last few weeks with the cold weather. But if you're going to do that, number one, make sure you have a fire extinguisher nearby. It's important that you understand that it only takes just a second for an ember or anything to burn. The people out in California are going through a horrendous time. As a matter of fact, my son is fixing to be deployed from Galveston FD for the second stint out there. So folks, do me a favor, so we don't have something like that happen here in our area. Make sure you pay attention to your fireplaces. Make sure if you're burning an outside fire, if you've got a fire pit going, pay attention, watch what you're doing, and always have that fire extinguisher close by. And last but not least, folks, everybody, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the day with your family, because that's what it's all about. Watch a little bit of football, unbutton those pants, let your waist expand, and above all, don't over turkey eyes. Have a great day.